Hey guys, today I'm going to guide you through the entire process of setting up your Shopify store. We'll take it step by step, covering all the necessary features and configurations along the way. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a fully functional store ready for showcasing and selling your products. And for those of you who haven't signed up for Shopify yet, I included the best current deal in the description. You'll get 3 days for free, and after that, it's just $1 for the first 3 months. So once you've signed up, you'll be greeted with this screen, and then all you have to do is click on Create Store right here. Afterwards, it's going to ask you how experienced you are with building websites. You can just skip this questionnaire altogether because all it really does is change the setup guide that is on the Shopify dashboard, and we won't be using that anyways since I'll be explaining everything, so you can go ahead and click Skip All. Once you skip it, you specify where your business is located and then click Next. And then you choose the account you're going to be using, and finally you'll be at the Shopify dashboard. Now this is the tutorial section for Shopify at least, so what we want to do is go to the left hand side where it says Online Store, and then here you're going to be greeted with all your themes. And this is the first important step in establishing your store. So to check out the other themes they have, go down to the bottom of the page and you're going to want to click on View Theme Store right here. And once you land on the theme store, you're going to see a bunch of options on the left hand side for you to perhaps specify what kind of theme you're looking for, but also you can browse through this page as well. So as you can see, there are some paid ones and free themes, and like I said, you can categorize them according to what you're looking for. So let's say you're looking for a free theme, and so you pick on whatever theme you want. So let's click on the right theme, and one cool thing about Shopify is you can view a demo store using that theme itself. So you can see what this looks like in a professional setting and if this lines up with the vision you have for your sites. For my site, I'm going to go and use the Dawn theme. And if you want to apply whatever theme you picked, all you got to do is click on Try Theme, and then it's going to generate this theme for you. And once Shopify has generated your theme, it's going to be located under your theme library, and you can publish it by clicking on Publish, and it's going to replace the theme that is here. But since we have the Dawn theme already installed, we don't need to go through that process. But for you, once you do get that finished, you're going to want to go to the Customize button and right-click it and open this in a new tab because we need easy access to the dashboard and to our website. So how about we check out our theme? And once you've opened up your new tab, you're going to be greeted by the theme editor. Now on the left hand side, you're going to see a basic structure for your website containing the header, the footer, and then the content in between. Whatever changes we make on the left hand side are going to be previewed on the right, and this bar is going to be present on whatever page we're on, so by the end of the video, you're going to be very familiar with it. And if you go to the right hand side up here, you're going to see the mobile icon where you can customize your site for mobile devices. However, we're not going to be spending too much time here because whatever changes we make in the desktop editor are going to be adapted and accommodated for mobile devices, so you don't have to worry that it's going to be disrupted. On the left hand side, you'll also notice that we have certain sections included with our Dawn theme. So you have the image banner and then the featured collection at the bottom here. When you want to add a new section, you just click or hover in between sections like this. You click on the Add Section button, and then you pick whatever option you want from this menu. You can also do this by going to the main sidebar menu by just going back. So if you find yourself in a particular section, you click on this arrow and then it will take you back to the main sidebar. So you click on the Add Section button and then the same prompt will pop up. So keep that in mind. Now, what I really like about Shopify is that we can move around these sections just by clicking on the 6 dots like this, and then you can drag them above or below another section. And you also might be aware that there are some blocks in between each section. So right now we have our text block and then our button block. And if you want to edit a block, you just click on it from the left-hand side, and then here you're going to get some options as to what you can change for that particular block. And you can also click on it from the right-hand side preview and similarly get the options for that block as well. So like I said, this is our left-hand menu. We're going to be spending a lot of time here, so you will familiarize yourself and then some. And the next thing that I wanted to talk about is how you can change your logo, your color scheme, and the font for your text. Now, to do so, go to the left-hand side on this gear where it says Theme Settings. For the logo, click on, well, the logo. This drop-down menu will appear. Click on Select Images, Upload Image, and I already have a bunch of these images set up for me. I got them through the internet, so don't think that there's some obscure photos. I suggest to you to organize all of your photos into one folders so that you're not scouring all over your computer trying to find the photos that you need. And I made a logo using a site called Canva. It allows you to create all kinds of photos, edit them, and it's really handy, especially when you're trying to use pictures and add them to your site. And if you want to just customize them a little more than you typically would. So I'll put a link to Canva in the description below if you want to try that out. Now, to transfer an image, you click on the image. So of course, this is my logo. Open it. It's going to take some time to upload. And then once it is uploaded, all you got to do is click on done over here. And then the logo is going to pop up in the top left like this. And you have some customization options for the menu, such as the logo width right here. So you can make it any size you want. I personally like 140. And you can change other things by clicking on the header, such as the desktop logo position. You have 4 options to choose from, but I personally like the middle center because it looks balanced. And the next thing we need to touch upon is the sticky header. So what this is whether or not the header is going to stay put when the customer is scrolling or not. So those are the options you have. And the last section for the menu that you need to know is the spacing. So the spacing, the bottom margin at least changes the space here. So if you make it really large, then you're going to have this white space in between one section and the one below it. And the section padding just increases the amount of space you have in the section itself. It doesn't affect the other ones. So you can make this larger, smaller, leave it as is. And let me show you, once you make it totally small, you still have a good amount of space. So it's not really restrictive. And so that's pretty much all you need to know about the header menu customization options. And guys, make sure to save your progress in the top right. You do not want to slip up on that one. Trust me from personal experience. Now, to touch upon the colors, we go to the theme settings here, and then under the logo is the colors section. And from here, we can just choose any scheme, and you can customize it by clicking on these circles, and then you can play around with the template and palettes. And if you want to add a scheme, you just click on add scheme right here, and you can do the same thing. Now, these schemes come with the theme. So these are presets that came with the Dawn theme. For any other theme that you chose, you'll probably have different ones. And so just keep in mind, but they are flexible. You can add your own. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. Now, to actually change a section or to add color to a section, click on it and then go down to the color scheme. Click on change and then choose the color scheme you want. I want the blue and white one. And so that's how you change it. And of course, make sure you save what you just did. And now let's go ahead and touch upon the typography, which is over here on the left-hand side, just under the colors. So you open this up and the first text you can change is the header text, which is this, for example. So go to change and choose which text you want. I'm going to go with April Fat Face. Make sure to select, and that saves your changes. And of course, you can change the sizing of the text as well. The next thing that you can alter, I'm not going to use change, is the body text. So that would be this text and the prices. So anything below the header text. So you click on change, and I'm going to go with something different this time. So we're going to go with echo, head down to select, and then you've changed both your header and body text. And so now what we need to do is, of course, go to the top right and save it. I'm not going to mention this every time, don't worry, but we do need to start fixing the images. So we're going to start fixing the header banner, and let's do that. Now there's 2 ways to go about this. Either you can access the customization options by clicking on the particular object you want, such as the banner. So I clicked on the banner and you have all these options pop up on the left-hand side, or I can use the backwards arrow to access the main sidebar menu and click on them that way, or any of the other items on my homepage. So you can use either of those. They both do the same thing. So I'm going to click on the image banner, and just like what we did with the logo up here, I'm going to transfer an image into Shopify. And so just click on select image, and maybe I might have had to redo this part of the video a couple times. So I already have the coffee banner that I want. Yes, we're going with the coffee shop. So there you go. Spoil that one for you. So you know how to transfer the image into Shopify. So that's simple enough. So just click on the image you want and then go down to done. And then you're going to see the image pop up on your website. Now you can change the opacity of this image to whatever extent you want. I like to keep it standard. I typically like the standard settings with Shopify. I don't blame me. What can I do? Now, if you want to make the image smaller, you go down to banner heights and you can choose any of these 4 options. Adaptive first image is essentially small, so I typically go with medium. And let me show you a really cool thing. Now, you can actually change the animation or the behavior of this image. So let me show you how that works. So you go down to animations and you have these options. So the ambient movement is my personal favorite because it's very subtle, but it makes your site come alive and it's really cool. You can have a fixed background position. So as the person scrolls, it doesn't move, but it's still prominent on the screen. Or you can have zoom in on scroll, which the more they scroll, it's going to zoom in on the product. Now you'll notice there's not much of a difference between these two. So as I said, I like to go with the ambient movement just because it looks really cool. Now, you can also change where the text is located, where the content is located in your banner. So you can do this just by clicking on desktop content position, and you have a lot of choices. Now, luckily for me, I'm perfectly content with the content and where it's located. So we're going to leave it where it is, but you can play around with it and choose if you want it in the top left, whatever tickles your fancy. So we're going to leave it where it is. But of course, let's actually change the text within this text box. And like I said earlier, you can just click on the object and change it. So here we're going to remove this text right here, put our own, and you'll see that you can still change the heading size even when you're not in the typography section. So you can keep that in mind in case you want to change stuff. But right now, what I want to do is also remove this button. We'll talk about what buttons do and how we can link pages to the button, but right now we're going to remove this to have a clean first impression. And so we're going to leave that as is. And now let's go on to the next thing we got to cover, that being adding products to our store. Now, before we go ahead and add products, I just need to add another section. And so I'm going to click on add section and then choose the collection list. And the thought process behind this is to add 3 different categories of coffee that someone might want. And below, we're gonna have all of the featured products. So this is where all of our products are gonna be listed, but this is more focused as to where a customer might wanna go. And to add our products, we gotta go back to this tab and then go to products on the left-hand side up here and then choose, well, the first option. The second is the collections. We'll get into that, but first let's add those products. Now, to add products, just simply click on add products from here. Now, the first thing we have in this product list is the option to add a title. So I'm just going to add the title of an item I already have. Here you write your description. You can write your own custom description, or you can use the generate text option right here and input some text, some keywords, and then hits generate. And over here, you can change the tone to any of these here, or you can include your own tone. And so if you're not happy with this, you can generate it again, but we're going to keep it. And you'll notice how on the right-hand side, it notices, oh, this is coffee. I mean, I don't know what gave it away. And then it's going to change the category to coffee. Here, you upload media. So I'm going to take the image of this item and paste, or not paste it, but transfer it into Shopify. Down below is the price. So let's change the price to $5. The compare price is the discounted price. So if I drop this down to $2.50, then it's going to show that it's on sale. And cost per item is how the expenses on your end, so how much it costs you to sell this item. And the track quantity, pretty self-explanatory. So you write how much you have in stock, and then continue selling when out of stock is obviously an option and really a personal choice, because if you check this box off, you have to make sure that you can stock your item in a timely manner, because if you don't check this off, you could lose sales. But if you do, then you have the option of maintaining those customers and making sure that they don't go somewhere else because you don't have it in stock. So I would check this off only if you know that you can restock quick enough to supply demand. Now, this is a physical product. What this means is you can also sell digital items, and I will put a link down in the description on how to set up a digital item. But for now, let's stick to the physical one. So we're going to change the weight to grams, and this is going to be 560 grams. And then the variance. Now for coffee, there's no variance because, well, once you see that these are the 4 options you have, you can't really change the size. We already have the weights, the color. I mean, I don't really feel that it's necessary to touch upon the color because the item is just brown. and you can choose the other options as well. But basically, you choose size and then you type in medium, for example, and then you can add another option down below just to give variety in the variants, right? So we're going to trash that, but that's how it works essentially. Now on the right hand side, if this didn't pop up, then you would have to write what it is exactly, what category it falls under. But the collections is what we're going to touch upon in a second, as I mentioned. But basically, make sure that you check that your category is in the right place. And then up here, for you, it might not say active. If it says draft, then change it to active. And once you're done with setting everything up, then hit save right here. And then you've basically done the tough part. Now you can go back and add another product just by hitting add product in the top right here and go through that process for every single item. Now that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save you some time. So let me add the rest of my products and then we're going to go to the collections. All right. So now that I finished adding all of my products, let's go over here to collections and add those collections. So hit on create collection. Add your title. In this case, I don't really need to add a description, but what we do need to do is add an image. So go to your folder, and this is going to be the thumbnail for this category. And then down here, you can either select manual or automated. So any product that you have under a particular tag is going to go into this category that you make. So for example, I can have any iced coffee product go immediately to the iced coffee category, but for the intents and purposes of this video, I'm gonna do this manually. So hit manual, hit save, and then after this, you're gonna be able to add your products. So from here, go to browse, and then I'm just going to select the iced coffee one. So iced coffee, there should be 5. And so let me just make sure. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Add them, and then make sure that you have confirmed your choices. So double check it. And from there, we've basically created one category. So let's just take a look at how this appears on our store. So this is how this iced coffee category is going to appear on our store. So we've taken care of that. Now I'm just going to add the other 2 categories by going back with this backwards arrow, and then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, so now that I've added the other 2 collections, let's see what our site looks like now. So we're going to go back to this tab, scroll down to our featured products, and you'll see how things have changed. But we still need to adjust this a little bit because it doesn't look great. Now we're going to click on this. You can change things such as the heading size, the description, things we're already a little more familiar with. Then you go down here, and what I want to change in particular is the amount of products that are shown. I like to go with 8 and 4. You can, of course, change this to be whatever ratio you want, but I typically go for that because, well, it looks a lot more organized. Now, I would highly recommend checking this off because it optimizes your site for all devices and doesn't leave any blank spots where there shouldn't be. Down below, you can enable the carousel on desktop only, so this allows your customers to see your products in a different format. I'm going to uncheck that. In this case, you can change the color scheme as we've already talked about before, but I'm going to leave it what it is right now. Then you have the product card. So the image ratio, because I have a white background, this doesn't really do much besides just zoom in on it a little more. So I'm going to leave it as is. The image shape, since this isn't a full image, it's only going to change the background. So, I mean, it really depends on the image you have. In this case, I'll go with round just because it makes it look a little cooler. And you can change the padding as well, which is something else that we've discussed already. So when it comes to the featured products and the customization options, that is all that you really need to know. But now we need to add the collections. And to do so, you just click on one of the images. You pick which collection you want. For example, I'm going to go with instant coffee, and then you repeat the process for every collection. Now, I want to show you one thing in particular. So you select your collection, and for example, your image isn't actually optimized for the site. Don't worry, because there is a fix for that. So I'll just add the last image as well, just to really show you what I mean. So all 3 images are different sizes, but we can just change this by clicking on the section. And then right here where you have the image ratio, you can just choose either portrait or square, and it's going to adjust it accordingly. Similarly to what we did with the featured products, you can change the number of columns on desktop. Now, if you have more columns, what I recommend is getting creative and just adding another collection right under this. And so then that's a way to really work around that issue. And so a lot of the settings are the same as they were down here. You can change the color scheme and then adjust the padding. But as far as our collection goes, yeah, it's not really hard to add them. And actually what we did here essentially was make 3 individual pages, because for example, I click on iced coffee and it's going to take me to the iced coffee page. And so this is a great segue into what I want to talk about next, which is how to customize our menu and how to add pages. So let's do that by heading back to this tab, and from our collections, go down to online store, go to pages, and then click on add page. So all we got to do here is add our title. So I'm going to add a recipe list. And here's another thing you need to take into consideration. Make sure that your template is not crossing over with another template that you pick. For example, if I take the contact page and apply it to 2 different pages, I'm essentially going to be changing both pages at once. So it's going to create confusion. So essentially make sure that you have one template for each individual page. Okay. So go ahead and save this and go to navigation right here if you want to add this to the menu. But first thing we got to do is head back here. And if you want to add another page, click here, and that's how you do that. If you want to customize this page name, just click on the actual item, and that's how that's done. Now to add it to the menu, click on navigation, and then you have the footer menu and main menu. We're going to customize the footer menu later on. Right now, let's focus on the main menu. Now, what we want to do is click on add menu item, and we're going to add the page that we just created. So pages, and here is our recipe list. Click on add, and there you go. That's how that's done. Now what I want to do is I want to add those 3 other collections that we just made and put it under the catalog section. So to do so, click on that, go here, and then go to collections, and I'm going to take the coffee beans, add it to this, and then to add something to another menu item, just drag it, and you're going to see how the line changes. So if it's if it's a product or item on its own, it's going to have a line all the way through. If you're putting it under something, it's going to be a little smaller. So you just place it right there. And then to add another item, just go back to where it is on your menu, add it, and then that's how that process works. So it doesn't take really too much time. And I'm just going to add the rest of these products. And now that we've added this, go down here and save the menu. But if you want to make a menu of your own, just click on add menu, and then you can make a particular menu. For example, if you want a sidebar menu, so you have some flexibility in that. And now let's take a look at what this menu looks like on our website now. All right, and as you can see right here, our main menu has changed a bit. So we've added the catalog with the drop-down menu, as well as our recipe list page. Now, we do need to address the recipe list page and customize it, but first, let me tell you about how to set up a button and point a customer to a specific page. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a section, rather, not a page, and we're going to go with the image with text. And I don't want it to be all the way down there. So we're going to drag this and move it above the, no, not right there. We're going to move it between the collections and the featured products. So to save you some time, I'm going to add an image. I'm going to change the header and the paragraph text. And then once I'm finished with that, I'll show you how to set up your button. All right. So with that taken care of, let's go ahead and check out this button. So once you click on it, you have 2 options here. So you can change the label or the name. And then down here is where the magic happens. So you click on button link and you can link it to collections, a particular product, pages, all these things. In my case, I'm going to link it to a page. So I click on that, and then my recipe list page is right there. Now you might be thinking, well, this kind of sucks. This is a pretty dull color. Well, what you can do is go back to theme settings, click on colors, and whatever theme you chose, you go on that, and then you change the button background, label, and the outline of that. For now, I'm okay with what I've got here, but if you want to change it, well, there you go. That's where you would have to go to do that. Now let's go to our, well, actually, let's take advantage of this link and click on it. And then now you can see that it works and we're on the page that we actually need to customize ourselves. So again, to save some time, I went ahead and made this page using all of the methods we've already talked about. So don't think that I'm using some special tricks. I just wanted to make sure that we don't tread over the same stuff. Now, this time I just added a multi-row and went ahead to include the pictures of some coffees and included the descriptions. Then I created a page for the Turkish coffee recipe. However, here's what I was talking about when I said not using the same template twice. I made this mistake myself and then I had two of the same pages, so I fixed that. And after that was taken care of, I went back to start working on the Turkish coffee recipe page. And the first thing that I did was add another section, and I chose the image with text. And with this, I added a picture, of course, and then I added header text. But once I got to the paragraph section, I wanted to make one part of this stand out more, so I used the bold tool. However, once I added the rest of my text, the picture on the left grew a little too large, so I resolved this by clicking on it, going to image height, making this medium, and then I scrolled down a little further and I wanted to make this content overlap because it's a good way to fix this issue. So you got to get creative sometimes. And so that's pretty much all I really had to add for that. Okay, so now that we've taken care of the more aesthetic side of things, let's touch upon the marketing, the policies, all of the nitty-gritty stuff. So to do so, go back to your dashboard and then go down to settings right here. All right, so let's talk about our store details, which is the first tab. Make sure to check this information so that it's correct. And if you want to edit it, just click on this pen icon right here and input your info. And right below is your billing information, which you can also edit the same way by clicking on the pen. And beneath that is the store currency, which should already be adjusted to your location. And if it's not, then you can click on the bar and choose the correct one. Now, let's head to our payments tab all the way up here. Right off the bat, you're going to see Shopify payments, which makes the payment process a lot more convenient as Shopify has optimized it for use, and it allows customers to save their info for a quicker checkout experience. But the catch here is that your business needs to have a registration number and that you're in one of the supported countries from this list right here. So if you do meet both criteria, then you can click on Activate Shopify Payments. However, for everyone else, there is an alternative option. When you go down to the supported payment options right here, you'll see a default option, which for me is PayPal, but for you it might be something else like PayPal and Amazon Pay or either or. But you can always add more by clicking Add Another Payment Method, search by provider, clicking on the bar, and choosing a provider that ideally supports Visa and MasterCard. So once you've made your decision, you'll want to head over to Checkouts. Here's where you're going to choose what info your customers need to input when they're at the checkout. First thing is the contact method, whether that's phone or email or just email. I personally prefer the email, so we'll go with that. Below that is the option to require the customer to log into their accounts before checkout. We're going to leave that box as unchecked because I personally find that annoying and customers could too. So we want to make the checkout process as hassle-free as possible. Next is the customer information, which asks whether to include the first or last name. I prefer both because then you can personalize the marketing to the customer through their emails, for example, on a first name basis, such as, "Hey Mark, we have this deal," instead of "Mr. Miller, we have this deal," something like that. The next option really depends on who you're selling to. So if you're selling to companies, then you want to include this so you know which ones are buying for you. So I'd put this as optional in any case. I recommend doing the same for address line 2. It's not necessary, but we're going to leave it as optional anyways. However, the shipping and phone number is required. Then, below the customer details is the order processing, which we can leave as is because the default settings work fine. And then the marketing options should just include the email, but double check that. So, now we're done with checkout, so we can go ahead and save. Next, we'll go to the Market tab. There's two things to know here. So if you're planning on only selling domestically, then just make sure the primary country is the country you're in, and then you're done. But if you're selling internationally, then we'll have to touch on these other markets. Shopify has made this itself, including 27 countries. So let's click on this section. Now, if we go to this edit button right here, we can see all the countries that have already been added. To change it, you can click on edit again from the box here, and you'll be shown this list from where you can exclude or add countries that you sell in. When you're done that, you can save your selection and then go to where it says inactive and then activate these markets. and then make sure to save things again. That is very crucial. From here, let's go to the shipping and delivery tab. Now, all items are going to have a different weight, but the smart thing to do is to create profiles for items that are at a similar weight. I only have coffee items at the moment, but if I expanded my store to include, let's say, mugs and coffee pots, then maybe I'd put those together and then the actual coffee items separately. If you want to do that, you can just create a new profile. However, for right now, I'll show you guys how to set up your general profile, but you can still follow the same steps if you're creating a new one. So let's hit the general section, and here you'll find the products linked to this profile. Right below that, you'll spot the shipping zones and their corresponding rates for both your main markets and any international ones. To edit any of these prices, click on these three dots, edit rates, and customize said rates. For international rates, you just go down to this add rate button, and then you can set that up. And now we can finally get around to that policy that I talked about a little earlier. So let's exit out of this, head back up the page, and then select policies. The first thing you can do here is edit the terms of the returns policy by clicking on Manage right here. You can pick the time window customers have to return something, the return rate down below, and then down here you can set which products or collections cannot be returned when you have a final sale. And then at the bottom is the summary of your return policy. Now just go back to the previous page by clicking on this backwards arrow and hit Turn On, and your return policy will be applied. As for everything else, it's super easy. Just click on Create from Template, and Shopify will make a template according to the policy in question. You can do this for all of the policies except for shipping and returns, which I have made a sample version of. I made this using ChatGPT, but I highly recommend you make your own so you can set your criteria. So, once you finish creating templates and filling each section out, go ahead and save this. And the great thing about this actually is that we can add these policies to our footer menu without really doing too much work. So you can do so just by exiting out of here, and we're already in navigation, so that's convenient. And so this time we go to our footer menu, and then we click on Add Menu Item. The process is the same. Then you click on Search or Paste a link, and now we have our policy section. So I'll show you how to add one, and then I'll do the rest just behind the scenes, I suppose. So we're gonna include, let's say, the privacy policy. So we're gonna add the privacy policy. We can change the name up here, but I don't really feel the need to. So we're just gonna add this right here, and then let me add the rest. All right, so now with that taken care of, let's go back to our website and see what that looks like. So we scroll all the way down to the bottom, and here they are. Here are our policies. So let's check out if they work. Click on the refund policy, and there you go. It works. Now, the last thing that I want to check is whether or not a customer can reach the checkout page so that we know that the whole site is functional in of itself. So to do so, go to the top left and then click on View. And then let's go down to find an item. For example, let's go to the coffee beans and check out this one. And you'll notice how it has the tax information here and then the description that we wrote a little earlier on. So now let's add a few to our cart so we know that the cart works. Check out. And now's the moment of truth. Okay, everything is there. Wonderful. So you'll notice that there are no payment methods saved. That's because this isn't a real site, and I would have to go through the whole process of setting this up myself. But in this case, we just need to know that we can reach the checkout page. The payment process is for the customer to take care of. But now that we know that the site works, everything's functional, let's go ahead and make this sucker live. So of course, we're going to exit out of that, and then go back to this page and head back to home, or not home rather. Let's go to the online store. And now you're going to see something that says remove password. Well, we're going to have to just click on that, and then that's pretty much all there is to it. So we've covered everything that is important for this tutorial. And that's a wrap, gentlemen and ladies. Now, I hope that helped you guys out and it was easy to follow. When it comes to making a site, you can only learn so much about the tools before you just got to get your hands on and see how you can use them. I didn't want to bore you with every menial detail, but rather just show you where everything is and how to familiarize yourselves with them. And if you have any further questions, though, don't hesitate to ask down below. Also, don't forget about the Shopify deals. It gives you 3 days free, followed by just $1 for the next 3 months. you can grab that from the description. And if you want to support our future tutorial endeavors, then hit that like button and subscribe. As for this video, that is all I got for you. Thanks for watching as always, and until next time, take care.